of peace. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending in which part of the world you live in. Today, I want to talk about the benefits of understanding how your human experience is created or how your mind works, which is the basis for the leadership development and emotional resilience program that I use in my coaching and mentoring and consulting. But before I do that, my name is Dr. Aya Akeri. I'm just a young lady, an adventurer, a wayfarer crossing continents and cultures only to discover the truth that unites us all, our interconnection with each other and the universe. My story is one of intense transitions. I was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and spent the first half of my childhood in Tripoli, North Africa, and the second half in Dublin, Ireland. And you don't have to be a cross-cultural specialist to imagine that's like living between worlds. I'm a certified leadership coach, credentialed by the International Coaching Federation. I'm an organizational leadership consultant and emotional resilience coach and mentor. My goal is to transform the conception of leadership into one of inner peace, wisdom, and creation based. Our leaders to lead from the souls through conscious awareness via coaching and mentoring. I help ambitious executive professionals and change leaders to excel, beat burnout, enhance their performance and productivity, and master the art of work-life balance. So what are the benefits of understanding how your mind works? Beyond resilience, there is resilience and there's beyond resilience. This understanding is a potent catalyst for leadership development, for transformation to a higher plane of being, a higher world, a different worldview that's more comprehensive and able to deal with the complexity of modern life, especially for leaders. It will help them navigate personal and professional life, but it also applies to everyone. So what are the benefits? I want to touch on a few points here today. So starting with number one, personal accountability and less blame. Once you understand how your human experience is created, then you stop blaming people and things and events. You hear people say, oh, this person is making me angry, or my kids are driving me crazy, or this person broke my heart. And it's as if the whole statement is disempowering because it's just transfers the locus of control from you being in charge of your feelings to other people and your life. And that's very disempowering. So we blame others, we point fingers, and that's not very good for our relationships, is it? Or our well-being. But once you realize it's up to me how I feel, it's up to me, I'm in charge of my feelings, I'm experiencing my interpretation of my experience, I'm feeling my interpretation of my experience, and therefore there's more personal accountability. You take charge of your life. You stop blaming others. And you know what? When you stop blaming others, you're gonna become more likable because people don't like people blame and point. That's number one. Number two, becoming more resilient and having less stress. So once you understand your power of thinking, it affects the way you create reality, then you realize then that you are creating your own upset feelings. Okay, just because something happened that you didn't like doesn't mean that that thing is going to control how you feel. So when you realize, okay, I can let go of this upset or uncomfortable feeling, and therefore you have fewer stressful responses, and also they're short-lived. So instead of being angry for a week or 24 hours, you're just maybe feel angry for like 10 minutes and then realize, okay, yeah, I can let go of this. And that's how you become more resilient, becoming more resilient and having less stress in your life. Now, number three, more time spent being fully present in the moment. Because once your mind clears of this all of this unnecessary thinking, then it's easier to be present in the moment. Present in the moment, we've got so much going on in your mind. I don't know if you ever experienced, if you have so much thinking, then it's like you walking, you're going for a walk to relax, but you don't relax. You just keep thinking and thinking, and you're ruminating over things that have happened, and you just miss out on being present, because this moment, the present moment, is a gift. That's why it's called the present. Once you let go and realize that, you know, just let go of that unnecessary thinking, you fall into the moment. You fall into pure consciousness. Your senses come alive, and you get to enjoy life. You feel the breeze on your skin. You feel the hair, the breeze going through your hair. You smell the beautiful flowers. You take a deep breath, and you feel joy, and you feel alive. Okay, so number 3 was spent being fully present, because you realize you don't need to change the external world, that your feelings are not coming from the external world, and therefore you're more likely to let go. Number 4, greater ease with your inevitable ups and downs of life. Ups and downs of life are inevitable. It's natural. It's the part of the ebb and flow, natural cycle, day and night, 4 seasons. It's normal, but it's our resistance to our experience that creates our pain. If you remember a time when something happens, I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and she was rude. It was very hard to communicate. And I did feel upset, because I was like, how rude. I mean, how can you possibly talk to people like that? That's not okay. But then once I got that moment of insight, that realization that person could be going through something, just having, or maybe she's doing the best with her current level of understanding. She might have seen me. I don't know what she was thinking at the moment. I don't know what kind of circumstance she was living through. And then not attaching my self-worth to that experience, and realizing, okay, that's just her. That's not me. I get to choose how I show up in my life. And that makes it easier. You live from a space of ease. There's no need to change your experience. There's no need to overanalyze your experience or resist it. The most important thing is resistance, because with resistance comes pain. If you want ease, you're going to have to let go of that resistance to your human experience. Number 5, freedom from perceived limitation. Okay, so we're creating a reality through our interpretation of our experience. It's like you have a dream, and then you wake up from the dream and you realize it was just a dream. Same thing, you let go of your daydreams that you have created. And it sounds really simple, because it is. It's very simple, realizing that they're just momentary constructs, they're illusions, our interpretation. We created this. And therefore, these perceived limitations, I'm fat, I'm thin, and I'll never be good enough, or I'm not worthy, they're just limitations that we've put, labels that we've put on ourselves, and just understanding that they are just labels. They are illusions, constructs that we have made. And we use them to limit ourselves. Innocently, unintentionally, but then also being aware, realizing that it's just a perceived limitation, that there are no limitations. Limitation is an illusion. And that's how you unlock your potential. Possibilities are endless. They're always there, but then being able to see them is when you let go of those perceived limitations. That's freedom, psychological freedom. Number 6, forgiveness. Forgiveness. That's something that a lot of us struggle with. It's normal to have judgmental thoughts, but then holding on to judgmental thoughts makes it very hard to forgive people. And then ask yourself the question, if you're holding on to these judgmental thoughts, who's suffering? You or the other person? It's more likely to be you. And I understand maybe the other person did harm you, or they were inconsiderate, disrespectful. But at the end of the day, if you're holding on to these judgmental thoughts, you're suffering. And then ask yourself, is that person worth it? You forgive the act. It doesn't make it okay for people to harm you, but seeing that into the psychological innocence of that person. But even if the person was not psychologically innocent, which can be the case, who's suffering by holding on to these grudges? It's you. So letting go of these judgmental thoughts allows you to have forgiveness. And you can fully, when you have a forgiveness, guess what? You can fully experience the richness of every moment. You can live from a place of happiness and joy. And ask yourself, is the other person worth it? Do you really want to ruin those beautiful moments by holding on to these judgmental thoughts? Okay, so number 7, more feelings of well-being. When you have a clear mind, you feel lighter and you feel better. So you're happier, you're more alive, you're more peaceful, you're more curious, you're more motivated. There are no distortions from the intellectual, conceptual thinking. There's no over analysis of our experience. We're just okay. Life is just happening. Okay with that. And that raises your level of well-being. So more things of well-being. Number 8 is more confidence, because there's thinking that you do and there's thinking that comes. The thinking that you do is labored. It keeps you preoccupied. Not the thinking that comes, it just flows naturally. It's fresh ideas, full of creativity, fresh thoughts, love, compassion, insight, which is an ordinary everyday occurrence that just comes to you. And then that's common sense. You show up from a place of common sense because you're not preconceived notions. You're showing up from a place of clarity, from the fresh wisdom that's flowing through you. And when you show up from common sense, life's so much better for you and for people around you. Number 9, benefits to relationships. A lot of the time, problems happen in relationships or arguments arise because we want people to see things the way we do. But once you understand how their human experience is created, you realize that there is no way that two people to feel exactly and see things exactly the same way. So being more accepting that people will always see and live the same exact experience from their own perspective, that we cannot be on exactly the same page, and that's okay. And relationships flourish. Arguments, they understand, okay, they're living from their current level of understanding, their level of consciousness, and I'm living from my level of consciousness, and we'll see things different, and we'll feel things differently, or interpret our experiences differently, and that's okay. There's more room for compassion, for love, and for growth. And you have more to give to relationships. You understand your essential nature, and you show up from a place of love and understanding, and you can beautiful relationships. So it really improves the quality of your relationships and the quality of your life. You have more to bring to relationships. So let's look at this in a business setting. So in a business setting, this understands a mentoring and coaching program. And this is a story of a successful application in the business conducted in a high-tech electronics company in the aerospace and defense industry. And the program was called State of Mind and Business Success, because it really comes down to the world, how you understand your mind. And the results were interesting, if anything. It was greatly successful. They actually identified the state of mind as a fundamental organizational value and a critical competitive edge in the marketplace. Improvements. There were major improvements in financial performance, such as orders, profits, sales, in program performance in terms of on-time deliveries, reliability, product quality. There was also improvements in the overall climate and work environment. So we have an improvement in organizational culture in terms of team cohesion, teamwork, leadership, camaraderie, customer relations, conflict resolution. And the benefits were not only professional, but they also leaked into the personal lives of the employees. And according to a senior company executive, and this is a quote by him, he asserted that many employees often stated that they had experienced changes in their personal lives, in their physical, emotional, and mental health, and their personal relationships, which they credited to the State of Mind program. So I guess it all comes down to what's in it for me. Imagine your life being more present in the moment, personal accountability, stopping no blaming others. So this is very empowering because you take charge of your life, more well-being, better relationships, more ease, the ups and downs of life from a place of calm clarity, more creative, happier, more common sense, greater ease, more forgiveness, more. Does that sound like something that you would be interested in? Is that something that you can add to your life? More freedom from perceived limitations, so being able to unlock your potential, greater ease. It's a feeling of coming home, just being connecting with yourself and valuing yourself, connecting with the true essence of your being. And that's why I said beyond resilience, because it's one thing to become resilient, you have less stress in your life, but there's so much more to unlocking your potential, transformation to a higher plane of being in terms of higher self. You hear people talking about higher self. And when you're at that higher level of unconsciousness, you are a much better person and you have so much to offer to the world. And you're a source of blessing and peace and happiness for others too. That's just one of the benefits that come along. I'd love to hear your stories. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt like, well, I could have handled this better? Like, I mean, I did share my story. I had an issue yesterday with somebody. Well, I didn't. I just had a communication, and that person was just not responsive at all. And I had a choice. Do I get upset? Be upset for how long? It was my choice, right? And being able to show up from a place of compassion. Forgive the person, not the act. It's not okay for people to treat others with disrespect, but you don't know what people are going through. Everybody's doing their best with their current level of understanding, and that's why it helps to help others raise their level of consciousness. For meaningful, lasting change, you need to raise the level of human consciousness, and that's how you do it, by looking within through self-awareness, realizing how we're holding ourselves back through our perceived notions, the limitations, the labels we put on ourselves, through misunderstanding, holding on to judgment, holding on to thought, holding on to assumptions, expectations that can affect the quality of our relationships with ourselves and others too, because it's really important to have a good relationship and connect with yourself, understand yourself, have a level of self-worth. Walking blind and aimlessly through life. Life is leading you instead of you leading life. Thank you for your time. I would love to hear your takeaway and your feedback. And if you please like and subscribe and share. My name is Dr. Aya Carey, organizational leadership consultant, emotional resilience coach, mentor, and leadership coach. And please connect with me to my website. You can download my free book and workbook on my website, www.drayacarey.com. And also you can find my book, From Your Soul, The 4 Worldviews of Inspiring Leaders. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye.